You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Okay. The Washington political machine has a lot of insiders. We know this, right? There's an establishment of Republican and Democrat insiders, and there's this elite that control all of our lives and decide everything. This is especially true in the Democrat Party, okay? Because we've got Trump and we've got the MAGA movement, which is growing, and so the Republican establishment has lost a lot of juice. But there are certain people that are outspoken that are in this power elite in Washington, in the left. And when they say things, they're not just talking, okay? These are insiders who decide who are the kingmakers, okay? And when they talk, you've got to take what they say serious, okay? Now, when I tell you the name of this person, a lot of you are going to laugh. I'm talking about Andrea Mitchell at NBC News, okay? Remember, her husband is Alan Greenspan, right? Remember, he was the head of the Fed. She is one of the most insider people in all of Washington. You just don't realize it because she's such a nasty person. And I thought when HD television and 4K came in, when HD came in, she was going to leave and retire from television. And she didn't. And now that 4K and 5K is coming, I'm shocked she's still on. But Andrea Mitchell, when she says something, in particular when it's about Democrats, you can take it to the bank that these are the plays that are being made. So Andrea Mitchell had a sit-down interview with Willie Brown's girlfriend, the vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, and a lot of things were said, but I just pulled up one clip, and Kamala's career is over. Listen to this. This is Andrea Mitchell with Kamala Harris.
Dozens of Democratic leaders are saying that they not only don't think that he's the strongest candidate, considering the larger field that could be possible given his age and other defects, but they don't think that you're the right person to be on the ticket. Why do you think that?
I think that it is very important to focus on the needs of the American people and not political chatter out of Washington, D.C.
And you obviously ran for president in 2020. You want to be president. You still want to be president someday.
Joe Biden has said he intends to run for re-election as president, and I intend to run with him as vice president of the United States.
Okay, now this is amazing. So Andrea Mitchell, who is as inside as inside, she's in that Eyes Wide Shut crowd, okay? Remember her husband, Alan Greenspan.
That's a scary thought.
Well, I don't think anybody's having sex with Andrea Mitchell, okay? But you know what I mean. If there's an Eyes Wide Shut party,
she's there.
She would be invited.
Masked for sure.
Hopefully several masks. But there aren't enough masks. But the thing that what she said here, she told us two things. One, Biden's out, and two, Kamala's out. And if you notice, that's one of the few times that Kamala was asked a question that she didn't cackle, pause, or say something stupid. That really was like a dagger in her. I mean, when she heard that, she was like, whoa, this is serious. This is Andrea Mitchell. So Andrea Mitchell being this power elite, when she says leaders, she's not talking about these joker talking heads on TV. She's talking about the real leaders. Most of them, we don't even know who they are. They're donors, and the politicians know who they are. The people behind the politicians, the real power brokers, are saying he's not running, he's got problems, and you're not running either. So that is humongous breaking news. And the reason they do this,
and you know this because Kamala said to her, "Don't pay attention to DC chatter," and that was really telling her, specifically. That is telling you that this is what they are saying.
It's already been decided
in DC. This is what these elite DC circles are saying, and her saying that is a validation of that fact.
This right here,
that's what she was telling her. Right. Well, don't listen to all the chatter of your little friends.
Yeah, and what Andrea Mitchell was doing here, a lot of people say, why would she do this? Why would she go on TV and say this? She would do it for two reasons. One, she wants Kamala Harris to know how serious it is.
Yeah.
Because she said it on television, and her word and credibility, she thinks she has it and is important to her. But it's also foreshadowing, right? Foreshadowing, preparing the public for what is to come. And it is very unusual. In fact, I mean, I'm trying to scratch my head to think of when this happened, and maybe somebody will let me know. Maybe this happened in the 1800s or something. But for the sitting president and vice president to not run for re-election in their first term is huge. And I know some people will say Johnson. Johnson finished Kennedy's term, had his own term, and then he knew he wasn't going to get the nomination, so he didn't run for re-election. But remember, he had finished Kennedy's term and then had his own term. That's, and same thing with Truman. Truman finished Roosevelt's fourth term, had his own term, and knew he was going to get creamed and didn't run again. But they were not in their first terms. They had part of the term of their president because they were vice. It's a whole another thing. Teddy Roosevelt, a similar thing, right? He finished the term, had his own term. I'm talking about someone who they're in their first term and not running for re-election is pretty historic. That has not happened in modern times. And I don't know if it's ever happened, quite frankly. And this, for Andrea Mitchell to go on television, that was an ambush interview. You guys don't realize it. You don't hear Kamala in a serious tone very often. She's asked a tough question, and she goes into that cackling thing. She didn't do that. This was really...
Well, she was letting her know.
She was telling her, you are not running. You are not running, and Joe is not either.
Putting her on notice.
Andrea Mitchell believes she's higher than Biden and Kamala. And you know what? She is. She's higher up in the order of things in Washington, D.C. So that is humongous news. Now, there's another story, and this is a big one. This is a big one, too. There's a new poll out and shows that Donald Trump would beat Ron DeSantis by 13 points. That's double digits.
Just the two of them?
Well, let me read the story. This is in the Daily Mail. It's still unclear whether Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis is the preferred candidate for 24 among Republicans. Well, we know it's Donald Trump. We love Ron DeSantis, but it's not his time. As polls continue to flip-flop, DeSantis is shown trailing Trump by 13 points at a new Rasmussen poll taken among Republican voters February 8th and 9th. The result came as Trump continues to levy a series of attacks against DeSantis, including calling him a rhino, disloyal, and calling him Ron DeSanctimonious. If the choice were between the two men, 32% said they would support DeSantis. 45% said they would support Trump, and the rest go other people. So President Trump, Rasmussen is a credible poll. So right now, Rasmussen has Trump beating DeSantis by double digits. If the result comes as other polls have shown DeSantis winning, I haven't seen those, but that is huge. And so 14% go for other candidates, and 9% are not sure how they would vote. That's big. And I was up at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. I made a YouTube video for President's Day weekend showing Mar-a-Lago and President Trump's home. And I showed some of President Trump's neighbors in their mansions, so you should go check it out, including Rush Limbaugh's mansion. I went by Epstein's house, and many other celebrities. I didn't even finish. I had there's a lot of other celebrities and political insiders and Fox insiders. I didn't go by all their houses, but I'll do that in another video. But go and watch that video. But something was very, very interesting about that. The security around Mar-a-Lago has increased almost to the level of when he was in his first term. There's always security there and Secret Service, but it's more intense, and it's probably because not only is he running, the polls are showing him winning, so that elevates the level of security that he gets. He is the Secret Service has put in other. I'm not going to talk about it, okay? And I don't show security when I go to Mar-a-Lago. I don't show security. I saw two Secret Service men next to each other. I wish I could show this to you guys. It was insane. This one guy was like in military fatigues. He had the biggest gun, the biggest rifle I've ever seen a man hold. It was like the ones Rambo holds, like the ones that are mounted to helicopters.
The ones that take 2 hands.
And next to him was another Secret Service man who was armed, and he was in a tuxedo.
Wow.
I've never seen, because there was a wedding at Mar-a-Lago, and that famous singer was something, you know what I'm talking about? Very famous. He was there. And I've never seen a Secret Service guy in a tuxedo before. He's supposed to fit into the wedding party. That's why when I went to the church, there were all those Chevy Suburbans at the church. So it had something to do with this. And Trump actually posted on True Social about the wedding too.
Was he a guest at the wedding?
He was there. He talked about it. I think he's invited to all the weddings where they celebrate at Mar-a-Lago. But this added level of security that President Trump has had that I'm seeing is not only because he's running for president, the Secret Service believe he's going to win the nomination. And that's why they've elevated the security. There were a couple of things, which I'm not going to share with you, that you can see with your eyes when you're there, that have never been there before. And I thought it was very interesting. One thing in particular I've never seen before. And that tells me that they even think he's going to be the nominee. So we go into this is an interesting thing, because what Andrea Mitchell's talking about here, Biden's not, and Andrea Mitchell's world, which is the power structure of Washington and the Democrat Party, Biden's not running, Kamala's not running. So we've got another Democrat running. Certainly Newsom's going to run in the primary. Governor Cuomo may run, and there could be some other people that are serious Democrats that we're not thinking of right now. But President Trump is still a president of the United States. He'll be the president of the United States in that race. It'll be like he's an incumbent.
Yeah, well,
this has never happened before.
I don't know how they're going to convince Biden not to run unless he just can't raise the money.
They'll pay him off.
I mean,
they'll buy him off.
I don't know if they can pay him enough, Brian, compared to what he's making
everything
now
for money.
with his dealings. But and it's not just about that; it's about pride and his wife. But he's going to have to announce at some point soon, because people are going to start announcing that they're running or not. And he's going to have to know. I don't think he'll walk away. I think he's going to announce that he's running. And I think he's going to have to run with her. And I think they're stuck with them. But like I said, he might not be able to raise the money needed. I mean, how does it work if you're the president at the time and you do have challengers come in? You have to go through the whole primary process. Has there ever been an incumbent that did not win the primary that you can think of?
That's not won a primary, I don't know, but you mean the nomination?
A president that did not win the nomination?
No, usually, no. What they do is when they know they're not going to win the nomination, they don't run. That's why I said Johnson, Truman. They knew they wouldn't win the nomination, so they didn't run. They didn't run.
Well, so what, do you think they're telling him, we're not going to give you money, we're not going to back you?
This is what they'll go to Biden.
What are they going to tell him to convince him?
They're going to go to him, and they're going to set his family up financially for the rest of their lives, which is all he cares about.
Hunter will burn through all of it.
But you can't help that.
He burns through all their money.
But that's what they'll do. They'll offer him a lot of money to take care of Jill and his loser brother and sister and kids for the rest of their lives. That's what they'll tell him. They'll buy him off, and he'll go along with it, because Joe Biden does everything Joe Biden does for money. And they'll tell him, if you run, you're not going to get the backing. You're going to lose. And your family's going to be on their own with whatever you have left in your pension, which is not enough.
I don't know if it's going to work, and I don't know if a really bad scandal
that's good.
Work.
That's good for us.
He's been through a lot of that's
good. That'd be great for us.
I really just don't see this guy walking away, no matter what.
I don't either. I don't either.
I think it's a matter of pride for him. I think he's a very nasty man.
Well, Kathy, it's a lot of power.
And I don't think he wants people. It is a lot of power.
You know what it's like? It's like
he's been in Washington a long time.
Okay, it's like Charles. I can't call him King Charles, guys. I mean, it just doesn't sound right. Prince Charles. It's like Prince Charles here, right? I know he's the king now. But it would be like him resigning and letting his son become. Right. These people don't walk away.
No,
I know they had a king that did. That was an unusual situation. It was almost 100 years ago. Okay. People don't walk away easily from these positions of power. I don't think he will.
Like I said, I think they're stuck with him. I really do. But what I'm curious is if he gets challengers in the primary season, if is there anybody you think that could beat an incumbent president.
No, it causes too much division. In the 1980 Democrat election, Ted Kennedy was challenging Jimmy Carter, but he dropped out. It caused a lot of problems. They didn't go the whole way.
Right.
So it's very destructive. We don't want him to step aside.
No, we don't.
We want Joe and Kamala to fight for it and have a big division.
She's a disaster, and it's amazing to me that she's at the level she is. That a woman this stupid in America has. I don't know if it's just dumb luck or how. Don't people just scratch their heads? I'm sure in Washington are like, how did this idiot become vice president? A lot of it has to do with the color of her skin. That's for sure. He wouldn't have chosen her if she was white. He wanted a woman of color. He even talked about it. But there's other women. There were other women of color he could have chosen.
Obama.
Why her? Does he want somebody? I guess he wanted somebody he could control. That's an idiot.
Obama and Kamala have some type of connection, and
I don't get it.
And Obama got him to do it. Now,
probably.
I want to tell you guys, this MyPillow 2.0 is amazing with the cool technology in it, the cooling technology inside of it. It has the patented fill, also the cooling technology, so that your head and face never get warm. You don't flip your pillow over.
That's nice.
To get the cool side. And Kathy and I, we've been sleeping on our MyPillow 2.0s for a week and a half. I remember we got it a week ago this past Wednesday. And why don't you tell people about it? Because you sleep on it every night too.
Well, you're right. There is no cool side because the whole thing's cool. You don't have to find the cool side. And,
that's right.
When you lay, it's got this fabric that's much thicker. That's the pillow casing, and it's really soft and quilt-like and very thick. But it's when you lay on it, you can feel that it's
or
cooler.
touch your hand to it.
It just feels cooler. I don't know. He's a mad scientist.
I have
don't know
idea.
What he does.
No idea.
But how it works. But that's what he does. And I'm telling you, the other pillows are amazing. I didn't think he could improve on those, but these are the 2.0. They're better. It's just a better version of the pillow. And I think he just listened to people and heard what they wanted. And let me tell you, if you're like me and you're over 50 and you're a woman and you have hot flashes, you know how horrible they are. I mean, I will wake up, you wake up covered in sweat, you're dying of heat. But let me tell you, you got this pillow, you do not have that problem. It really helps with that. Your head's not getting overheated. It really, really helps. That with the cooling sheets. That combination, the Giza sheets, really does help with that because the sheets breathe and you do not get as hot with menopause as you normally would.
I'm going to give you guys some inside info on the MyPillow 2.0. Okay, now, of course, it's buy one, get one free, the MyPillow 2.0 with the cooling technology. When you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. But here's the part I've been telling you guys at. I have meetings with Mike Lindell and his people all the time. I talk to them every week, and they give me all kinds of info and everything else. The MyPillow 2.0 is selling better than they projected. They knew it would sell because everything Mike Lindell does is great. He's the Thomas Edison of sleep, and they knew people. But it is selling in much higher numbers than they projected. When they start to run low on inventory, they're going to end this buy one, get one free special. Kathy and I got two of them because it's buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane. So take advantage of this BOGO offer right now while it lasts. By the way, the Giza Dream Sheets, we have 6 sets of those. Those are buy one, get one free too with our promo code Kane. So don't let this MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer go by without you taking advantage of it. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It's a great way for you to support the program and all the content that I bring you to when you use our promo code Kane, Kane, buying these incredible products from Mike Lindell at MyPillow.com. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob. Everybody out of the pool. From author Robert Allen Miltenberg. Available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Are you looking for a unique and profitable business opportunity? Have you thought about an ignition interlock device business? To give offenders a second chance, courts are often willing to allow convicted DUI drivers to install interlock devices so they can continue to drive their vehicles. These devices work by having the driver perform a breathalyzer test in order to start their car. More and more judges are offering these devices, and you can learn everything you need to know in the book, How to Start an Interlock Business, available online at theinterlockbook.com. This downloadable ebook has tons of useful information that you won't find anywhere else. In this must-read book, you'll learn how to find ignition interlock partners, how to pick the right business model, understand the different types of services, learn to analyze potential service center locations, discover how to streamline business operations, how to apply for the right business license, how to stay in compliance, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Don't blow and drive. Read and buy the book, How to Start an Interlock Business, online at theinterlockbook.com. That's theinterlockbook.com. Take your financial game to the next level. Take control of your financial and personal well-being with the Winning Playbook from authors Rob Welsh and Jonathan R. Scott. Available on Amazon. This is the essential guide to transforming your career into a money-making machine and becoming the CEO of your own legacy. Financial empowerment expert Rob Welsh and former NFL offensive tackle Jonathan R. Scott have dedicated themselves to successfully coaching athletes of all levels to make their money work for them. The Winning Playbook is your personal financial coach, giving you the ins and outs of how to make the most of the rewards from your hard work. You will learn what you must know to get what you want from life. It's a well-written, practical personal finance book and a must-read for athletes and entrepreneurs alike. From authors Rob Welsh and Jonathan R. Scott, The Winning Playbook, Strategies for Life on and off the field. Order your copy on Amazon right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Okay. The balloons, the balloon stories has almost totally evaporated from the news now. And Biden, a few days ago, had this ridiculous press conference, and I don't know if you call it you have to take questions. I get a press briefing because it's not a conference if you're not having a conversation. He told the press, told the world, told the American people that these were not Chinese balloons, even though even Kamala Harris calls them Chinese balloons. Even Millie calls them Chinese balloons. He said that these were just people that bought some balloons on Amazon or something for $12 and sent them up. I don't buy any of that. They sent up U.S. fighter jets and shot them down with missiles.
Exactly.
Okay. So Kirby,
they're lying to you.
Yeah. So Kirby, who's a very strange man, he was the spokesman at the Pentagon for a long time. Now he's one of the spokespeople at the White House. And this guy is a retired admiral, and there's just something about this guy that's weird. You know, when you're an admiral, everyone, when you walk into the room, especially the Pentagon, they stand up. Mm-hmm. You know, even if people aren't in the military. When I met an admiral once when I was in high school, and even all the kids, the admiral came in, we're not even in the service, we stood up, it's an admiral. And he stopped that. He retired from being an admiral to be a spokesperson at the Pentagon and wear a suit. That's almost like that's a woman's job. And it's just weird, but he's something weird about this guy. So he's at the White House now, and he was on television on the Sunday shows talking about the balloons. Okay, listen to this. This is the spin. Yeah, listen to this. This is Kirby today.
We have since shot down 3 other objects. The president came out and said that they're most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation or research institutes that are studying things like weather or other things. My understanding, correct us if we're wrong, we're told these missiles used to take out these balloons are over $400,000 each. One of them apparently we used 2, and the balloon was only maybe worth $12. What do you tell the American people about our ability, our radar, our defenses to differentiate between real threats? Because we can't spend that kind of taxpayer money taking down hobby balloons.
Well, we don't know exactly what these balloons were, and then we've called off now the search in Lake Huron and the one over Alaska.
Okay, now slow down. They've called off the search over Lake Huron. Over Lake Huron, that means they didn't recover what they shot down. And what about that missing missile? The first missile over Lake Huron missed, okay? Where's the search for this missing missile? I hope some kids don't find it. I hope some boaters don't run into it. I hope ISIS doesn't go to Lake Huron and get it.
You never know completely, but the leading intelligence community assessment is that they were probably for benign purposes, whether it's weather or commercial scientific research. But the president made the best decision he could in the moment with the information that he had.
Okay, if that end part is true, that Biden made the decision, Biden doesn't decide anything, but if Biden made the best decision he could with the information, whoever was giving him that information in the military needs to be fired. I mean, I don't buy this. There is some type of major cover-up. And I think the original story is true that they're Chinese balloons. And the reason I think they're Chinese one of them had some form of propulsion, may have been an aircraft, not a balloon. But the reason I believe that they're Chinese is because Kamala has repeatedly in interviews called them Chinese, and General Millie Vanilli has repeatedly called them Chinese balloons. These Kamala and Millie are getting briefed.
Maybe they're just racist against balloons.
Now, Kamala and Millie, who have called them Chinese balloons, both repeatedly on television and press conferences and everything, and interviews, are getting briefed in real time about these every step of the way. So they're Chinese, okay? That's why they said it. Now they're trying to spin this. And let me tell you how this happens. Sure. Our entire, especially the Democrat Party, some of the Republicans too, like Mitch McConnell and all that, but the Democrat Party is completely controlled by the Chinese. The Chinese...
Oh, they totally have infiltrated it.
Yeah. The Chinese let Biden and Kamala and these others come out and say bad things about China to a certain point. And this balloon story is turning public opinion against China so much, China has come in and said, you got to spin this, that we can't let you... The public opinion against China is turning too much against us. You've got to spin this. And that's why they're coming out and coming up with this false narrative that they're coming up with. I mean, and it's
the other
so
option
insulting.
Is just complete incompetence, and that they shot them down because pressure from the media. And it was a story in the media, and Biden just is incompetent and didn't bother figuring out what it was and just shot them down just to get the media off his back.
No,
and that's the other option.
I think they were all. I think all of them are from China, and I think they're everything that we thought they were, and maybe even worse. And they're covering for their employer. I mean, they're China understands that they have to talk tough on China, but this is the kind of thing that really ticks off Americans, and Americans want some type of reaction to China for doing this, and that's what China says. No, you gotta stop this. Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. Too much was revealed. And I think what happened is these balloons, maybe they were sent over and they didn't think people would notice and that things would play out this way. And then they noticed and Biden had to react. And now they're like trying to backpedal it and say, oh, nothing to see here. What you thought was here is not really what what you've been told.
Part of what they were doing very well could have been testing the American people's reaction to such a thing, too, to see what our reaction would be. Now, this next soundbite is from MSNBC's Glenn Kirshner. He gave an interview on a podcast over the weekend, and he's talking about the indictment of Trump. And, I thought for a time they were going to indict him after they broke into Mar-a-Lago, but it's been too much time.
Yeah, nothing's happened with
They're not able to indict him.
I guess another nothing burger.
Nothing came out of it.
Jones would like to say.
Yeah. I'm wondering if, all these classified documents that came out about Biden, I'm wondering if Trump was behind that being exposed. Trump has contacts now. Not everyone in government hates Trump. And he does. I don't know if they're giving them to him now. He's entitled to them, but they may not give them to him. Security briefings. Mm-hmm. He had access to all kinds of information in his first term, at least, if he's not getting anything now. And Trump and his people may have leaked that Biden had. This may have been something that had been known, that he had classified documents and nothing was done about it. And Trump may have leaked the information about the Biden classified documents all over the place. And to show what a real criminal does. But anyway,
I think the media, even if they know there's nothing there, they want to turn the public opinion against Trump.
That's all they care about.
That's what that's really
all they care about.
I mean, they want him in jail, but at the minimum, they want the public to turn on him. And they have tried everything in the book to get that to happen, and it has not happened. Now, we know a few people in our personal life that are upset with Trump for attacking DeSantis.
Yeah.
But, and they have told us they're not going to vote for him anymore, and they're really upset about it. But I think that if DeSantis does not run, which I don't think he will, it'd be so stupid of him to do that. But if he does not run, and once Trump's campaign really kicks off, I think those feelings will go away. Mm-hmm. And once people are faced with the option of Trump or Biden, I think that their hearts will warm up to him again. But they have not overall been able to sway. Ron DeSantis has not been able to deliver this overwhelming switch that they have been desperate to try to make happen. Now, what I think is going to happen is if DeSantis announces he's going to run, I think you're going to see a lot of very good coverage of Ron DeSantis, and you're going to see him on Fox a lot. Mm-hmm. They want to appeal to the Republican voter and get the Republican voter. They're not going to convince Democrats to vote for DeSantis, obviously. They need the Republicans to switch to him. And you're going to see a lot of puff pieces and things about him on Fox and all these other things and putting him in a very, very good light because they are desperate for him to win the nomination. But I honestly don't think he can do it. And I think deep down, maybe he knows if he does not run, it's because he knows I can't beat this guy. And he's so young now. He is just stupid to run against him right now. It would be a stupid thing to do. And he's not a stupid man.
I still believe DeSantis and Trump are working together. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for your support of the program. Your support means a lot, and it does help us out a lot, and it's greatly appreciated. And our top Patreon supporters get a live, on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters, okay? I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, D, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Paulette, and Carlos. Thank you. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode of the program, and also a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. All right, so from MSNBC, they have this liberal jerk, Glenn Kirshner. He gave a podcast interview, and he lives in this fantasy where, Trump's a criminal and all this stuff. And he talked about what's going to happen, what Trump's reaction will be when he's indicted. And the reason I share this with you is when you hear someone that has stage 4 Trump derangement syndrome, it's good to hear because these people in the mainstream corporate media, this is the mindset they're in. Yeah. When it comes to Trump. Listen to this guy. What a beaut this guy is.
And here's the beauty of it. Once Donald Trump gets indicted, Dean, and he will be indicted, he will throw every single person under the bus, including his own family members, if it will reduce his prison term by just 1 day or 1 hour. So hold on tight, because that's coming.
Okay. So he's going to sell out Don.
Hearing this for years.
Yeah, he's going to sell out Don Jr., Ivanka, Jared, everybody else, just to shave 1 day off his jail time. He's going to jail, but he's going to, first off, let's just say their fantasy.
These people lie to themselves.
Yeah, let's just see that their fantasy comes true, right? He goes to prison. They wouldn't take any plea deals. If he started naming names to shave off time,
Trump would never do that. Do you still think he's going to get arrested? Though
No,
you thought
I
for
know.
a while he is. Do you still think that?
Well, I know he wouldn't do the first part first. I know he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But if he were to do it,
Yeah.
they wouldn't do anything to make a deal with it. They want him locked up forever.
Of course.
I don't, at this point now, I thought after the break-in they were going to arrest him at some point. They were going to charge him.
Me too.
Okay. But I don't think that now. It's been too long, and they would have done it by now if they were going to do it.
To go after a president, you have to have a rock-solid case because you have to win over not only the court, which would be a Democratic court in D.C., but you have to win over the court of public opinion to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, nothing they have presented to the American people that are conservative, the Democrats are going to hate them no matter what. But the other half of the country, there's nothing they have presented that has turned them on Trump. So this tells me that they don't have anything that is strong enough of a case to indict him or to justify what they're doing. And they've done so many things about him with the spying and the Mar-a-Lago raid and all these things. It's really been a bad look for them. It's made them look like it's a witch hunt, like he always says. And as I've said many times, they've turned him into a folk hero with the right, and he is, because they're constantly trying to persecute him and bring him down and do all this stuff, and nothing is working. And the more they try to villainize him, the more elevated he becomes with his own followers.
That's exactly right.
And I think once he gets back on social media this summer, I think he's really going to amp up his campaign. And I know they're not going to show it on the news because that's why they're getting rid of Newsmax and OAN and all these things. But look, a year ago, even a month ago, did you ever think he would be back on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? And now he's allowed back on. Things are changing.
Big time.
The tide is turning, and you don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
And once his campaign starts going, I've said before, I think it's going to be bigger than any other campaign he's ever had. I think he's going to go full throttle and make it bigger and better than ever. And I think it's just going to be a red wave that they're not going to see coming. They're going to underestimate him again, which is what happened the first time. They underestimated him. Now with his second campaign, he was dealing with COVID. And let me tell you, if there was no COVID, that whole campaign would have been very, very different in everything. He would have accomplished a lot more, but that was a major distraction for him, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
just disrupted everything.
Now, I got one more soundbite I want to play in this segment. This is from CNN. They're talking about the white supremacists and the Republicans. Listen to this.
There are some real nasty elements of the Republican Party, white supremacists and others who want to align themselves with that party, and nobody's really condemning those people.
Okay, liberals always want Republicans to condemn white supremacists. Some things you just assume everyone condemns. You don't have to. There's a reason why they do this, okay? They want us to they were doing this with Trump all the time. The reason they want you as a Republican to condemn white supremacists all the time is because if you condemn them, in their mind, you're acknowledging that they agree with you and are part of your party, but you're condemning these members of your party. Never condemn white supremacists. They don't. It is a given that we're all opposed to that.
Yeah, when you condemn it, it's like you're taking ownership.
It's like,
of that ideology.
It's like they're part of our group, but we don't have anything to do with them. We condemn them. Right. They're trying to associate us with white supremacists, and that's just nonsense.
Well, these are people that like that poor black guy that was killed by those 5 black cops. They actually went on TV and said it was white supremacy.
That's right.
I mean, they just won't take they make everything about race. Not everything's about race. I mean, maybe they were just 5 bad cops that just happened to be black and he just happened to be black, but they make everything about race. And when they sit there and try to tell you with a straight face that 5 black cops are white supremacists, I mean, people actually believe this stuff. There's liberals that actually believe that and say, yeah, that's true. It's because they're a victim of the system and blah, blah, blah. No, they're just bad cops that did a bad thing and they're now been arrested and all this stuff. But that's who you're dealing with when you're talking to these people. I mean, I hear people that call your show that have so much anger and hatred towards white people. I don't understand it, but you can hear it in their voice. There's nothing you can say to convince them. You have one guy that calls up that found out we have a daughter who's biracial, and he just completely lost his mind because we're both white people and just could not let that go. Some people are just are racist, and there's people racist in all races. There's white people that are racist, black people, Asian.
Yes.
You can't help that. It's not just white people. It's not just a white people problem. And when you look at it that way, it just becomes a lightning rod for these people. And when you say it over and over again, after a while, people just kind of tune it out. It's like,
Yeah. Now listen,
you can't take it seriously.
We're going to take a quick break. There's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
Are you a small business or startup looking to optimize and simplify the workflow of your team? Ditch the headaches and miscommunications with Ketchup, a small business-focused project management and collaboration platform. Ketchup makes work easy and organized, giving your team a space to effectively communicate and collaborate. Say goodbye to the chaos of juggling countless apps and say hello to the serenity of Ketchup. Don't wait. Try out the 14-day risk-free trial and watch your team transform into a milestone-crushing machine. Ketchup, the one-stop productivity solution for managing your projects, tasks, and teams. Visit ketchup.cloud to learn more right now. Ketchup.cloud. Are you looking for inspiration? Are you ready to move from being tired to being inspired? Work can be stressful and a burden, but it doesn't have to be. Now is the time to take the first step to improve your well-being and your quality of life. You can regain your enthusiasm and enjoy what you do with the book Burnout Recovery Guide for Female Entrepreneurs from author Cassia Richter. In this must-read and life-changing book, you will find that perfect balance so everything can fall into place for you. All the strategies and tools you need are found in this informative and useful book. Burnout slowly creeps to the surface and can easily steal your joy without you even noticing it. By learning to watch out for the signs and find solutions before it's too late, you can avoid its detrimental effects. If you want to have it all, a thriving career, pristine mental health, and a happy family life, then buy this book today. Burnout Recovery Guide for Female Entrepreneurs from author Cassia Richter is available on Amazon and at wellbeingstrategist.com. If you're looking for a beautiful way to enhance your home decor, look to Textiles by J. Purr Blockhouse. At J. Purr Blockhouse, you will find handmade textiles that are truly stunning. They offer soft quilts, cushions, and shams. Experience the ultimate luxury and comfort with these fabulous bedding collections. They use only organic cotton that's very soft with chemical-free dyes. That's perfect for the living room, bedroom, your kids' room, or your guest room. You can transform the look of your bed with these hand-embroidered quilts, cushions, and shams. Find these gorgeous bedding items on Etsy at J. Purr Blockhouse. That's JAIPURBLOC House. On Instagram at J. Purr Blockhouse or visit their website, jpurrblockhouse.com. Have you or a loved one ever suffered a stroke? Have you asked yourself, what does it feel like to have a stroke? How do you move on with your life? The answers to those questions and more can be found in the book Emerging from the Dark from author and stroke survivor Terrence Eng. Did you know that a stroke is a common medical issue that most people don't understand? In fact, medical professionals often fail to fully grasp what it takes to recover from a stroke or how much energy and grit that journey takes for the stroke survivor. Author Terrence Eng has assembled a collection of moving stories from people in all stages of stroke recovery. Readers will find hope and inspiration from the unimaginable courage and determination in these true stories. Emerging from the Dark will change the way you see people recovering from strokes. This is a must-read book, not only for stroke survivors and their families, but it's also perfect for physicians and other health professionals. Emerging from the Dark from author Terrence Eng is available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. You can also find Emerging from the Dark at Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, Smashwords, and wherever else books are sold. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Hey, don't forget, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. If there's a podcast platform, we are on it. Just search for the Brian Craig Show podcast. And if you don't already, check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just look up Brian Craig or Brian Craig Show on YouTube. I put a lot of content there, and I have some adventures this weekend on YouTube. I just want to talk a little bit, give you a little behind the scenes of what went on YouTube. This Sunday morning, I did a live stream about Ann Coulter trashing President Trump on Tim Pool's show. And Tim Pool and his crew of people were very happy to play along with that. And I wasn't going to live stream this morning. I was going to, just take a break this morning and talk about it on the podcast. And I got a text message from a friend of mine from the cruise, Dan, and then I got some DMs from people on Twitter about the Ann Coulter interview, and I was looking through some of those this morning, and I went back and watched it, and it ticked me off so much that I left the house at 6:15 this morning, went to Starbucks, and did a live stream about it. I was so ticked off about Ann Coulter, and I did a pretty good breakdown. We're going to talk in this segment a little bit about that. I want to talk to Kathy about it, and there's some other information about it I want to share with you. But I went to one of the Starbucks in our neighborhood. There's 3 Starbucks in our neighborhood. And I went to one of them, which I live stream from sometimes out in front. And there was a homeless guy sitting out in front of the Starbucks. And I don't wear my MAGA hat inside Starbucks, okay? Because you watch them make the coffee. I don't think they'll spit in it, but they could give me decaf. You know what I mean? So I leave the MAGA hat in the car. So I get my coffee, and then I sit it down on a table out front. The homeless guy's a couple tables down. I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't care, And, it's wintertime up north, and the homeless are like the birds. They come to Florida during the winter because we got better weather than you guys have up north. So we get your homeless, this time of year. When it gets hot, they go back up north. But anyway, so I go to the car and get the MAGA hat, and my microphone and my iPad, because I need my iPad to play the audio of Ann Coulter. And I come back with the MAGA hat on, and I set everything up to live stream. And then all of a sudden, I started hearing this noise, which if you watch my video this morning, you'll see it in the back. You'll hear the noise in the background. It was louder for me than it was for you because I did go back and watch it because my bike has some noise canceling tech on it. It was very loud. It sounded like a vacuum cleaner. I think it was a CPAP machine. I think that this homeless guy traveled. He's got health insurance. I don't, but he's got a CPAP machine, and it was plugged into the outlet out in front of Starbucks. And when he saw the MAGA hat on, he turned this machine on that I think was a CPAP machine. I didn't get a good look at it. It was dark. And I sat down, and I'm like, well, I could go somewhere else and live stream. I could go back home. I was like, you know what? No, I'm here. I'm set up. So I live streamed that. You guys can check it out. And a little ways into the stream, he did turn it off. I guess he figured he wasn't going to. He was triggered by the MAGA hat, He's probably a homeless guy from Michigan or New York who's down here for the summer, And so I did the stream. You guys can watch it. And the Starbucks workers, this just blew my mind. The new people were coming into work, right? When I got there, I saw the homeless guy, and he was really scary. He's a big guy. He looked scary to me, and it was pitch black. It was really dark. And I go inside, and there's like this woman with this little girl, looked like she's going to dance class or something on Sunday. I don't know. And I see these women coming and going. And I'm thinking, this guy, it's kind of creepy that he's right there at the front door, moving in, and there's all these women and girls coming. It just doesn't seem safe to me. And I see as the new Starbucks workers are coming in, not only do they say hello to him, they say hello to him by name. They knew his name. And they're like, oh, hi, I can't remember what his name was. And they would say hi and then his name as they went in. So Starbucks is his home, I guess. He's moved in. It's it's a flop house. And, this is the thing, I was telling this to Kathy earlier. A lot of these businesses are not franchised. They're owned by the corporation. And since if Starbucks were a franchise, the franchise owner would never let a guy turn his location into a flop house.
I would hope not.
He'd run him off.
As hell wouldn't.
But because it's corporate, the people that work there don't care, and they probably give him food and everything else, and coffee and everything else that he wants, because he's basically living at Starbucks.
It's one thing to help people.
Yeah, it is. It's good to help people.
Brian and I have given money to homeless people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, and it's one thing to help people. But there's another thing when you encourage that kind of behavior too. So it's a fine line. It's a tough call because you want to help people, but at the same time, you don't want to encourage them, their drinking or their habit or whatever by giving them money. So it's really tough. But if I owned a business, I sure as hell wouldn't let some homeless guy hang out there.
Right at the front door.
I mean, that's not good for, and this is a very nice Starbucks. It's brand new. It's big. It's very nice inside. Yeah. And I would feel uncomfortable. We went back later in the day. Today to get coffee. And we went inside and the guy was still there. This was hours
later. He was inside now. He had moved inside.
Hanging out, just sitting there all day, and just hanging out all day. And what can they do? I mean, Starbucks encourages people to hang out and they can't throw you out.
Well,
I mean, what do you do?
I'm not harsh against homeless people, and I have sympathy for people that are homeless. Most people that are homeless, sadly have mental problems and they're not being treated.
A lot of them do, yes.
And guys like this are not safe. They're not safe.
Well, that's what you wonder.
And it's very dangerous for people, in particular women.
Yeah.
And to me, like, they know the guy and everything, but when I went inside to get my coffee, this one woman was there with a little girl. She was a young mom. She was like, I don't know, 30.
Yeah.
And she had a little girl who was like in elementary school. And I watched when they went out just because this guy is creepy to me. You should watch out for that. It's not safe. And people like this can snap like any time. And he had his pants, one of his pants legs rolled up and his entire leg was blue.
Yeah, that's like bad circulation.
So that's like bad. Yeah, like he's probably going to lose his leg. I feel very bad for the guy, but I think it's scary, and it's to have a guy. It's not safe. That's just me. So that was during the live stream today, and I just said, you know what, I did put a comment, and I pinned it to the chat. So if you go back and watch that video, and you watch the chat,
sounds like a leaf blower.
It does sound like a leaf blower, but he was trying to disrupt the video. Nothing's going to stop me, man. But you can hear that. Then yesterday, and I know a lot of you have probably seen this, for President's Day weekend, I wanted to go up and pay tribute to President Trump, so I went to Mar-a-Lago, and I made a YouTube video, which I think you guys will enjoy. I made a very good YouTube video. I did not only go to Mar-a-Lago, I showed you some of the other famous neighbors of President Trump that are just within a couple miles from President Trump. Most of them are a mile and a half. I went by Howard Stern's house. I went by Rush Limbaugh's mansion, Dr. Oz, some others. I went by the Kennedy compound, President Kennedy's Florida estate. I went inside the church where Trump and Melania married.
That's a nice church.
So I made a very good video of that yesterday, and I rode the MAGA scooter, and I was telling people on the live stream this morning, the video that I made up for President's Day is 12 minutes long or so, 12, 13 minutes long. It took me 5 hours to make that video. These super rich people up in Palm Beach, it's not easy to find where they live, okay? And then when you're there, it's set up in a way where they don't want you there. And I was in front of Howard Stern's house, and when I go to some of the other houses, when I go, Jeffrey Epstein, I went to Epstein's house too. If you guys want to see Jeffrey Epstein's street now, I went there too. That was very creepy. I felt like I was in a haunted, scary movie, a haunted house when I was on Epstein Street. It was just evil. But when I made the video, most of them, like when I'm in front of Epstein's house, Oz, Howard Stern, Kennedy compound, I'm sitting on the MAGA scooter. I just turned it off. So you didn't hear the motor because you can't park, and there's no sidewalks, there's no swales, there's nothing, because they don't want people to do what I was doing. So it's something that even people here in Florida don't get to see very often. So go and check that out. But I was in front of Howard Stern's house, and I'd been riding the MAGA scooter all day. And when I first went to do it, the weather report was very good. It was supposed to be in the 80s. It was supposed to be sunny and everything. And the weatherman was wrong. And when I got up to Mar-a-Lago, it started raining. It was windy, and it was kind of cold. And I was wearing shorts, a Hawaiian shirt. I'm on the scooter. I'm like, oh, my goodness. And when I do the opening on the video in front of Mar-a-Lago, you can't tell in the video, but I'm under the bridge that leads to Mar-a-Lago. Mm-hmm. I'm under the bridge. It doesn't look like I'm under a bridge, but I am because it was raining and everything else. And I called Kathy. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. It's raining. I'm on the scooter and everything. So when I was going around to all these places all day, and then I'm in front of Howard Stern's house, and I just stopped on the street, and I was just I was going through my text messages and my emails and just kind of getting my second wind. And the two cops came up to me in a golf cart and asked me if I was okay, what was going on, what was I doing, and all this stuff. And you think Howard may have called them on me.
Well, I know he's become very paranoid.
He's paranoid and very girly. He's very wimpy. He locks himself
up in his house, and his wife, apparently he never leaves the house. So maybe he saw you loitering there a little longer,
in front of his house,
an extra few minutes, and told them, go check and see what this guy wants.
Yeah.
Well, you can't blame him. I mean, he's very famous.
He's got a massive gate and everything else.
They all live in gated, have their homes surrounded by walls.
I'm in shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and Vans, and on a scooter. On a 150cc scooter. Come on.
Okay, so if you lived in a big mansion and you were as famous as Howard Stern, worth millions and millions of dollars, and there was a guy sitting in front of your house for 10 minutes or so.
It wasn't 10 minutes. It was
how long?
Not very long. It was not very long. It was.
You wouldn't send somebody out to go, well, he's got to give them something to do. He gives them a lot of money.
It was kind of weird when the cops came up and there were two of them in a golf cart.
They were definitely there to check you out.
Yeah, they were checking me out. Yeah,
make sure you were okay.
It was kind of fun. So go and watch that video, guys, and I think you'll enjoy it. And it took me 5 hours to make that 12-minute video. So please go and watch it and like it and get your friends to watch it. It was all. I didn't think it was going to take. I thought it would take me like 2 hours.
I knew it would take you all day. But you're like, I'll be back in a couple hours. I knew you'd be gone all day.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what part of the problem is. Okay, here's part of the problem. Why this video took so long to make. It's a couple of reasons. One, there are so many new people that have moved to Florida. Mm-hmm. I saw so many out-of-state plates, and they're not. You don't just see New York plates. You see license plates. You don't see very much in this part of Florida. A lot of Michigan, Connecticut. Yeah. All kinds of states, you're just seeing a lot of license plates that you don't normally see and in large numbers, and they don't know the way around. And the road that I took there, which is where Mar-a-Lago is on the ocean. It's called A1A, and it runs up and down the entire ocean. Yeah. And all these new transplants to Florida, most of them, it's their first time driving down the beach road. So
it's right on the beach.
So they drive 5 miles an hour because
they want to see the ocean.
They want to see everything. So they drive like 5-10 miles an hour. It drives you nuts until you try to pass them. Then all of a sudden they want to go fast. So that made it a long time. But one thing too that I noticed at Mar-a-Lago is a lot of MAGA people were at up there taking pictures in front of Mar-a-Lago, paying tribute like I was. And I saw now this is something that is pretty cool. I saw a lot of tourists, and not just American tourists, foreign tourists. I saw and they were speaking languages other than Spanish because people speak Spanish in Florida all the time. You could tell they're tourists, they're from other countries, and they're tourists in general. And
I would think Mar-a-Lago would be a tourist attraction for sure.
This is kind of new. Because I go up there all the time.
I mean, it's right on the water. You can't miss it.
I've never seen so many tourists go there and take pictures in front of it. It's very unusual. So Mar-a-Lago is becoming a tourist attraction, and I think President Trump enjoys that. I think he loves it, and he wants people to come and and support him and everything else. And there were so many
maybe one
MAGA
day he'll
people
come out
up
and be like, this guy's always coming up here. I got to find out who this guy is.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, the last time I went up there, and I showed the sunrise from Mar-a-Lago when the Secret Service pulled up on me and was checking me out. You know, it happens. You know, they got to know me by now. But I've never seen so many tourists go to Mar-a-Lago as it's, you know, if you don't know the area, it's not that easy to find. And also, there is an area where the public can park and everything. Yeah. But if you're not from here, you wouldn't even know about it. But people are finding out about it. And I'm glad. I love that people are going to Mar-a-Lago and paying tribute. And you know, here's an interesting thing about it, though. Other than President Kennedy, because Kennedy was a whole different thing, okay, than in the other president. Do you think people go to Delaware to take pictures in front of Biden's house? No. Do you think Democrats drive just to go see Biden's house from afar? No. Nobody, you know, and people do this with Trump. And then I also went and saw Trump Force One at the airport. And there were MAGA people and tourists at the airport getting a look at Trump Force One as well. And people don't do this for other presidents. I'm sure in Dallas, Republicans don't go to the estate of George Bush. And, you know, Jeb lives in Miami. All the vlogging I do, you guys ever see me go to Jeb's house in Miami? Who cares, right? Who cares? You know, President Trump is very unique. And, you know, I was talking on the radio on Friday, and a black MAGA caller called in and agreed with me about this. And I was glad that he did it. And it's relevant that he's African American, by the way. You know, I was trying to explain that President Trump isn't just some guy running for president again. He's like a civil rights leader. He's got the MAGA movement is a civil rights movement, much like Martin Luther King. It's about the American people being in control of our country, not the special interests, not the donors, not these foreign countries that buy influence like China's doing or what's going on with Ukraine. The MAGA movement led by President Trump, like Martin Luther King, he's a civil rights leader who's freeing the American people to run our own country and not be run by Andrea Mitchell and her cabal of people and the donors and these others. And people really need to look at President Trump as that, a civil rights leader. And I think that's the way. This is something that kind of clicked with me. I've thought this before, but it hadn't really fit in all the pieces yet. And that's how I view Trump and the MAGA movement now, is as a civil rights movement, not a political movement. Although, you know, civil rights is political, but I think you guys understand what I mean. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree in your thoughts on President Trump being a civil rights leader, because I think that's exactly what he is. And that's why so many people are drawn to him to go take the selfies at Mar-a-Lago or go see Trump Force One or go to rallies and things like this. It's because he's not just some guy who's running. And as much as we love Ron DeSantis, he's not that. He's a politician. He's great. I love Ron. I'm not criticizing Ron DeSantis, but he's a politician. Trump is different. He's on a whole another level. And you know, if Don Jr. or Eric get involved, when Governor DeSantis' second term is up, my favorite to be the next governor of Florida is Don Jr.
Oh, and I would love that.
And, you know, Don Jr., he loves Florida. He's out in the Everglades fishing. He's out in Lake Okeechobee fishing.
I think
he's
Matt
on the
Gaetz
ocean.
Is going to run.
For governor?
Yeah, I think it'll be Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz would be a great governor.
I don't think Don Jr. is going to run. I don't think I think he likes politics, but he hasn't done anything to indicate that he's interested in a career in that at all so far.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Matt Gaetz will probably run for governor.
Matt Gaetz would be a great governor of Florida.
He would be very good.
After DeSantis, absolutely. Don Jr. is my first pick. Matt Gaetz would be my second. You know, but either one of them would be spectacular. Listen, we're all out of time, but thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Attention startups and small business owners. Are you looking for an affordable solution to launch or boost your sales? The StoreApp e-commerce platform is the answer. Online at storeapp.io. Costing as little as Netflix, it offers the best return on investment for your business. With their easy-to-use platform, you can build and launch an online store in minutes and start selling where people are most active and actively looking for products such as yours. Amazon, Google, eBay, Pinterest, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and with its free digital marketing tools, you can make use of SEO, email, and social marketing tools, as well as paid ads. This is all done through one single dashboard. The only way to succeed in selling is with an omni-channel approach, like all the large brands do. Now you too can do so with storeapp.io. What are you waiting for? Build and run your own e-commerce store in less than 10 minutes. Go right now to storeapp.io. That's storeapp.io.